Hello, friend. Jim here with JB's Big Adventure coming to you from Lake Chapala, Mexico. Well, this is a video that I've actually put off to doing for probably the entire year that we've had our channel and such. Um, Pretty traumatic, pretty traumatic. And I know there's already enough fear and anxiety and stress and chaos that takes place moving down here. Last thing somebody wants is more of that put on their plate. And I'm going to share that with you right now. I'm going to share with you what happened to us. But before I do that, if you haven't already, I'd like to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's free, fast, and easy to do. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a small red box. Tap on it. You'll be subscribed. You'll know when our next video comes out. Also, go ahead and give us one of those thumbs up that lets other people know it's a great video to watch about retiring to Lake Chapala. So what I'm going to do is this is actually going to be in two parts, part one and part two, because I just want to make sure that folks really get the gist of what took place here. Let me ask you this question first. If I came across a great deal, a great deal, whether it was a cell phone deal, whether it was airline tickets, whether it was something that meant a lot to us, and I took advantage of it, but I didn't tell you about it, how would you feel if you end up finding out that I knew, but I hadn't said something to you? On the other hand, what if I knew about something that was tragic? What if I knew about something that just created a whole lot more fear and a whole lot more anxiety, chaos, and stress, and I never told you about it? That's why it's taken a while for me to be willing to put this video together. Taken a lot of thought. I've got all kinds of notes here. Believe me, I got 4 pages of notes. I guess I just felt that the time is right now to share with you. I know a lot of people are actually, choosing to drive down to Lake Chapala when they're moving here because of the fact you can bring your vehicle if you've got a temporal, and you can load it with as much stuff as you want to load it with. And so that's why I really feel now's a good time for me to share this video with you. I have been looking forward to it. This is one of those videos that really, it put a lot of undue stress in our life. And it had everything to do about moving to Lake Chapala. So I want you to know that when I'm all finished sharing this with you, that there is a solution. I do want you to know there is a solution, and I'm going to give you some resources when we're done. So it's no secret, and I've shared this many times, that Barbara and I moved here not because we had this nice house and we wanted to sell it and we were going to come down here and live out the rest of our lives off the proceeds. Not because of the fact that we had a bunch of money in savings. I really feel that we got our temporal, and it was nothing that we did. I think it was a God thing, because financially, we've struggled for quite some time, because all we've been living on, for the most part, is Barbara's Social Security check. And it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy. But we just couldn't live in the States anymore financially. And that's one of the reasons why when we came here and checked out Lake Chapala, it didn't take us long to realize on our way back to Albuquerque that we made a decision that we were going to move here just because of cost. We were really struggling, to the point where I had some items, and I don't say this with pride or anything, but I had items that I'd pawned that meant a lot to me that I never got back because I didn't have the money to be able to get them back. And so it was really difficult for us to be living. So that's the reason I share this with you. So we made the decision to move here. And this video isn't going to be all about all the process that we went through when we decided to move here and all, our first visit and all those kind. That's not what this video is for. This video is all about us coming down to Lake Chapala, moving here. So what I want you to know is we had two 10 by 20 foot storage units. At one time we had a large house and we lost it. So when we made the decision that we were going to make the move, we realized that we needed to sell everything. And the more that we thought about when we were coming here, I think it was the same thing with Barbara, but my thought was that we were going to come light. I mean, literally sell everything. There were a few things that we both had that we wanted to make sure that we kept, but we knew they wouldn't fit in our car. So I had a library, and this library was 6 feet high and 19 feet long. And then I had some more books, like in a couple boxes. And in all, I want to say there was 27 to 30 boxes of books. When I take these all off the bookshelf, my library, and box them up, there was like 27, 30 boxes, I think there were. And I do want to say that our mentality is to come as light as we could. So that's one of the reasons why we made the decision to get rid of everything. So we sold everything, and I've got that at another video that we did. But we literally everything we sold. We made the decision that we were going to move, and we were just going to have to let things go. So we had this big garage sale. I sold my car. I had a Honda Accord. We sold that car. Thankful we did, because we were needing the money. It was hard to get rid of some things. It was really hard. And I made the decision that I was willing to sacrifice whatever I needed to sacrifice for us to come here. And looking back on it, I wouldn't have done it this way. In other words, I had boxes of pictures that were of my grandson when he actually was born and as he was growing up. I had other pictures of different events and things. I had taken a lot of pictures over a period of time, just like capturing the moment. And I used to play another sport professionally, and I had a bunch of pictures from events and such that I was in. And so I threw pictures away. I threw awards away. I literally kept 3 boxes of books. I literally gave my library away. I put it on Craigslist. There was a guy who lived about a half an hour away. He said he just saw the ad, and he came and picked it all up. And this was like at night. He came like I want to say it was like 10 o'clock at night. I didn't think anybody would be calling right away, but he called and said, I'm on my way. So it was a load that was lifted. But still, this is a library that I've contributed to and built over the last 30, 40 years. And so in one weekend, we sold everything. Our garage sales on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because we knew what we were going to have to do. So I made the phone call to 2 of the movers here in town. And I called and spoke to both of them. One was going to be about $5,000 to move our stuff. And this would be meeting us at the border and then bringing it down in a truck. And another one of the companies was just under, I want to say $8,000, $9,000. And so we had to make a decision. We were going to have to get rid of more stuff than we thought we were. So we did. I looked into meeting somebody at the border that had a truck that we could put things in. They bring them down for us. And cost-wise, it just wasn't effective for us. There would just be no way no way that we were going to be able to do it. So that left one option. We were going to have to drive down and figure out how to meet somebody at the border of Mexico and the U.S. They would transfer things into their truck and then bring it down to Lake Chapala. So then I had to try to find out, who do you do for that? I mean, who do you contact for that? Who do you reach out to say, this is what I'm looking at doing? Do you know of anybody that does this? Because when we came down here for our first 8 days, when we checked it out, I mean, we didn't really have any kind of information at all. So we sold everything. At the time, I was a golf professional. I had a golf academy. I was teaching golf. And I got rid of everything. I had like 3 or 4 staff bags. Those are the kind of golf bags that you would see the guys carry on tour on the TV when you're watching golf channel, and a bunch of golf clubs. I played guitar. I played guitar for our praise band. I've been playing guitar for a long time, and I literally I pawned my guitars, and those are the things that I lost. Oh, and for those of your golfers, I had about 500 Titleist Pro V1 balls. Now, these balls are, they ain't cheap. And you can get a dozen right now, I think, for like $60. So I had like 500 of these in a box. And I sold all that. I sold all of it. Sold the guitars. We sold washer and dryer. We had a couple of couches. We had a sleep number bed. So we sold a bunch of stuff. And what we were looking for was somebody that we could meet at the border, because here's what we knew. We couldn't drive a truck because we had a car. So, and then we got thinking about a trailer, but a trailer would be too heavy on the car because it's a smaller car. And so we went to U-Haul, did some checking out on things. And what was interesting was we found out that the weight of the trailer was at a weight that we could pull with the car, but it was empty. So we got this 5x9 trailer at U-Haul. Literally, we had to take my car to my brother. My brother is a mechanic, has a mechanic shop. He's actually a retired firefighter. He's been turning wrenches for like 40 years. And so he put the hitch onto the back of the car, and a lot of anxiety with that, because we got rid of everything, and all that we were going to be bringing was what was going to fit inside of a 5x9 trailer. And so he installed these items. In fact, we ended up finding out we were going to have to pay about $1,000 to get stuff fixed on the car. Serpentine belt. We had to have spark plugs replaced. Had to put another water pump on. There was quite a few things that he did just to make sure the car was running right. But he didn't think it was a good idea for us towing the trailer. So we did some searching around to find out about how we would have somebody meet us. So we were referred to somebody from some folks at church that was to meet us at the border and would load our things out of our trailer and load it into his. He said he had an open trailer, and I let him know what we were bringing, and he mentioned that he would go ahead and make sure everything was double tarped. And I called and asked him how much they charge. And so I was speaking with the wife, and she didn't have an answer for me. I mean, we're talking about meeting them at the border and then meeting with somebody who brings their stuff down and we follow down. And she says, I'll have to get back with you. And it's like, that was a red flag for me. I should have really recognized that. Because when she called me back, she says it'll be $1,350. $1,350 to meet somebody at the border, transfer things from our trailer to his, and then he was going to drive it down and we'd be following him down. So we asked if there'd be a way that they could help us financially to where it was like, wow. I mean, that was a whole lot more than we expected. Whole lot more. She said, no, that's a rock bottom price. I'll never forget her telling me that was a rock bottom price. Couldn't do it. It was a rock bottom price. So, but she did say to me that if he was driving up to the border for somebody, so in other words, he was bringing somebody up to the border in Laredo, then he'd obviously have to be turning around and going back down here to Lake Chapala, and it would only be half price. So that's $650, $700. And we thought, okay, well, that will work out even better. So that's what we decided we were going to do. So before we got the trailer, because we got the trailer the night before we left, and we had laminate floor in our living room, and I knew that the measurements were 9x5 or 5x9. So what I did was I took electrical tape and I put electrical tape in each of the corners. So in one corner and then in the other corner and then on the bottoms. In other words, it was 5x9. I knew I could go 5 feet high and I could be 9 feet long, 5 feet wide, 9 feet long. And then the height, I want to say, was 5 feet. I believe that's what the number was. So I knew. I had it written all on the floor. So as we're putting boxes together, we're stacking those boxes in that outline to make sure that we could get everything into the trailer. This took us some time looking into this trailer thing because now we're going to load it up. How's the car going to handle? But it was like our only shot. It was the only way we were going to be able to do it. There was no other way. So there were some God things that took place, and we got the trailer, and we knew that we were moving to Mexico. And we had enough stress, anxiety, fear to deal with on top of everything else. So as I mentioned, my brother did a bunch of things to the car. We created a manifest. That manifest, everything that we put inside of a box, and we used tubs and cardboard boxes, but I would put like a 4x6 card on the outside. I'd write box number 5. And then box number 5, I would put on there like office items on desk or something, and then I would put it on a sheet of paper because the Mexican consulate in Albuquerque we went to said that was required. We had to bring that to them. So when we went in for our appointment, we had to have that with us of the boxes and what was listed inside the boxes, and we'd have to be able to provide one of those when we got to customs. So, boy, this just brings back some just difficult memories. So we went and got the trailer. We loaded up the trailer. I mean, we packed it to the gills. We had 2 dogs. And we just knew that one dog would make it with no problem. But Snoopy, who was a big 90-pound blue heeler, would be whining the whole way down. So we had to make a decision of what we were going to do with the dogs. Or I should say Barbara did. They were her dogs before we got married. So we found a place that would take good care of them, and it was a dog sanctuary. It was outside of town, and it was $700. And what they did was they would provide a room. It was like a condo that had a desk, that had they each had a couch, they had a soft chair, there was pictures on the wall. It was really cute. So that's what we did with the dogs. So the day before we left, we took the dogs over there. And I know it was tough for Barbara, and it was tough for me both. But we knew, like, just like I'd thrown things away, and I had trophies I threw. I mean, stuff I look back at now, and I would say, I would tell anybody, looking back on it, that keep the items that mean a lot to you. Don't just toss them out. Just because somebody says, all you got to do is come down with your toothbrush, realize that you're probably going to want to keep some of the things that you might otherwise throw away. But I would encourage you to keep them and find a way of making sure that you get to keep them, bring them down. So the morning came to leave. As you can see, I had a picture what the car looked like. Our car looked brand new when we were leaving. I'll never forget, we stopped and we had breakfast at our favorite breakfast place. And we knew a lot of the people that worked there. We just said goodbye, that we were going to be leaving. And then we got on the road. And we drove about an hour outside of Albuquerque to a place called Klein's Corners. So we drove out of Albuquerque going east. And then once we got to Klein's Corners, we re-topped off the gas tank and we had to due south. And so now we're driving on day one. We drove 6 hours to Pecos, Texas. Nice drive. I can still remember the anxiety about pulling the trailer. But once we got going, it was like I didn't notice anything. The car wasn't overheating. I mean, the trailer it was just a trooper. And again, I think it was a God thing. I just think we're believers and just believe that he was with us the whole way. And so we drove 6 hours. We drove 6 hours to Pecos, Texas. And we had a hotel room there. We went and had dinner at a Mexican food restaurant. And then we had a night's sleep. I mean, it was kind of a challenge. They put us in a smoking room and we had to have them change us to a different room because, we obviously don't smoke. And so they did that, put us into another room. And woke up the next day and ready to go for our second day. And so now we're heading towards Laredo, Texas. Another 6-hour drive. So it was a 24-hour drive from Albuquerque, and we broke it up to 4 6-hour drive days. So we pull in to the hotel where the gentleman that was meeting us was at. He had a gal there with him. And so we're thinking, well, great. We won't have to pay the full price because he brought somebody from Lake Chapala. So we pull in. It's getting late, and we end up finding out that he's not taking everything out of our trailer to put it on his trailer. We're actually having to take it out and put it on the trailer. He kind of moved things on his trailer, but we weren't expecting that. We were not expecting that. I just figured that he was going to supply whatever and take everything out of our trailer and put it onto his trailer. So we did that. It probably took us a good hour or two to do that. And I'll just tell you, Barbara and I were exhausted. Absolutely exhausted. And I will never forget her face. We're pulling the stuff out. I'm looking at her. And she said something like, I will never do this again. It was hot, muggy, sweating, miserable. And I should have recognized red flags. I should have recognized some red flags in all of this. And we ended up at this hotel. We finally got everything onto his trailer. And we're starving. So we all go to I don't remember if it was a Denny's or what it was, to have dinner. And he wanted the money all up front. Now, I told him what his wife had told me, and he didn't sound favorable of that. That she told me that if they were bringing somebody to the border, that what would happen is it would only be half price for us because it was just the one trip down. So what ended up happening was they required the whole $1,350 up front. There was a lot of anxiety. I can actually just feel some just sitting here. Some of the here's what we didn't know. I don't use foul language. I want to say that first, um, because I want you to know the impact that this event had, and that is we did not know that all hell was going to break loose. We had no idea. We're already tired. We're we're I mean, we've been riding for 2 days. We're going to Mexico. We made a decision to do that. We got rid of a bunch of things that meant things to us, but we just couldn't fit it in the trailer. So the trailer had the things that were all important to us. So we gave him the money up front. And the question came as to, well, it's supposed to be half price. You've got somebody else you brought to the border. And he called his wife. And she told him that she never told me that. I couldn't believe it. These folks are from Washington. They're from the States. They're Americans. I should have seen that I should have seen that red flag. So he basically said, either you go ahead and pay us up front because we got your stuff. And then I'm thinking, are you kidding me? You're going to hold our stuff as collateral. So we paid it. We paid it. $1,350 for him to drive our stuff down here to Lake Chapala, and we follow him down. I just want to tell you, all hell was getting ready to break loose. All hell. You will not believe what happened. You will not believe what happened and the experience that we had going into our third day. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make another video that's going to follow this one because I don't want somebody to have to watch a 40-minute video or an hour video to try to get everything and all the important stuff that I'm sharing. But just know that we didn't know how bad things were going to be going into our third day. So that's going to be on the next video. The video following this is going to be all about what happened starting our third day of driving down to Lake Chapala. A lot of emotions, even right now, just thinking about it. But I'll share with you in the next video. So I want to encourage it. And the second video will follow this video. So this video will be going out on a Saturday. And then I'll have the second video that will be on a Sunday. So I'm gonna have to think what I'm gonna call this video. Probably all hell breaks loose going to Lake Chapala. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But anyway, I'll be sharing the rest of this on the next video, and you don't want to miss it. It's impactful, and I think that you'll probably feel what we felt. And here's the one biggest reason that I'm sharing this with you. I don't want you to have to go through it. I wouldn't want you to have to go through it. I care about the people that are part of our channel, and I don't want you to have to feel what we went through when it comes to our trip down here to Lake Chapala. So with that, make sure that you stay tuned to the second video. If you haven't already, I'd like to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's fast, free, and easy to do. There's a small red box in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Go ahead and tap on it. You're subscribed. You'll know when our next video comes out. Also, give us one little thumbs up. It lets other people know it's a great video about retiring to Lake Chapala. Also, go ahead and stop by, ask a question, say hi. Let us know of a video idea that you'd like to see. And also make sure you hit the bell, because that way it'll be immediately notified when our next video comes out. And right here, you do not want to miss the next video. So with that, as always, thank you so much for being a part of this channel, supporting the channel, being a part of this community. You have an awesome day, and we'll see you on the next video.